Today I'm going to talk about 3 concerns I have and a possible solution with generative AI. DALL-E 3 made all of my slides. First is the destabilization of knowing what knowing is. That's the biggest first problem with ChatGPT. We've had this problem before. In early modern times, how did we know someone knew something? How do we know that somebody was a subject of knowledge? Well, we had what was called the man of letters, like Samuel Johnson or somebody like that. And the man of letters was really smart and was the source of knowledge because he had a weird flex. He had read every book in the world on the topic. It's like, I want to be a professor of surgery. I've read all 7 books, 2 of them in Italian. Okay, you're a professor of surgery. And that was how we knew things, because we had catalogs of books that told us who knew stuff because they'd read every book in the world at great time and expense. That was eliminated when technology changed, just like today. When technology changes, the sight of what is epistemically valuable changes. So as paper got cheaper, as presses became steam-powered, the amount of books that could be produced every year outshone the people who could make the catalog of books. So what did they do? They said, now the subject of knowledge, the Germans came up with a solution, like they do for a lot of things, is if you write a mid-level book that kind of fits with the other books, then you're smart, and we call that the Ph.D. And that was the solution of it. So now we're in a world where we have we want a stable subject of knowledge who can produce a text. ChatGPT directly challenges the epistemic history of the German Ph.D. It's a serious threat. We don't have a vocabulary for that. That's concern number 1. Concern number 2 is that for many years, Roland Barthes and Michael Foucault have told us that the author is dead, and we've all come to accept that, but we've accepted it in a very weird way. The author's death means that when you interpret a text or you say this text has meaning, you can't say because the author intended it to do so. That's like a no-no. We've all taken an English lit class. They're like, oh, no, 20 points off. You can't say intent, right? That's not what we do these days. So the solution now has been that we kind of triangulate and riff off of that, and we say, well, the author's death opens the possibility for alternate meanings. Now, what if there's no author, or what if the author is the collective text that the AI has been trained on? Now we're in real trouble because we need the author to be dead. We need the author to have existed and died, but now we have what I'm calling the Marty McFlyification of the author. The Back to the Future author who has been erased from time. So only we, through dramatic irony of the film, know the author existed and erased through time, but everyone around it no longer knows who the author is. So this is a perplexing way to generate meaning out of a text, is because now we no longer know whether the author existed or died. In fact, Marty McFly didn't exist. Right? Huge problem, huge problem, huge problem. I like this too. I mean, how to make this very good. Very, very, very good. All right, the next one. ChatGPT is embarrassing us pedagogically. This is what Ian said. I'm saying it in a ruder way. Like, all we do is these small level tasks, like endless discussion board posts, endless quizzes, endless respond to this, because we have disciplinary anxiety about, to quote a former President Bush, is our children learning? We have a lot of disciplinary anxiety. This just accelerates that. I found a book sitting on the side of a trash can in St. John Hall the other day. I meant to bring it, called The Prentice Hall Reader. You know what the Prentice Hall Reader is? It's like, you too, yes, you can write an essay. All of you can write an essay. Read these 5 essays about comparison and contrast to write your own. Now, how is that different than the way ChatGPT or Claude or Bard has been trained? How is that any different? This is embarrassing us. It's clowning on our teaching because it's making fun of it. A bad piece of software can do what we have our students do for assignment. That's embarrassing to us. So that's why people want to ban it. It's a good, on the positive side, it's a good opportunity to think of what are some cool assignments we could do that would actually be, I don't know, creative, generative. Use the parts of the human mind that aren't like, here's like 5 pieces of writing, write one now. That's exactly what ChatGPT does. In fact, let's look at a quote from Stephen Wolfram, the inventor of Wolfram Alpha, and perhaps, I would argue, the #1 machine learning expert in the world. This is his take on ChatGPT. It's a system for generating linguistic output that follows the pattern of what's out there on the web and books and other materials that be used in its training. That's what we do. What's remarkable is how human-like the output is. Small scale, but across whole essays. Wow, the whole class got it. It has coherent things to say that pull in concepts it learned that are quite often interesting in unexpected ways. Student papers. What it produces is always statistically plausible, at least at a linguistic level, but impressive as that it ends up being, it certainly doesn't mean that all the facts and computations it confidently trots out are necessarily correct. Student paper. So what's the difference? What's the difference? Well, we do have a hero. We can find a hero from literature to show us how to interact with this, and that is Cyrano de Bergerac. Cyrano de Bergerac is the 19th century ChatGPT. He's read all the drama, all the poetry, all the prose. He knows French letters. He knows how to write a sestina. He can do it all. And he proves that in the play by being a character, an interesting figure who's partly between the man of letters and partly between the German Ph.D., the value of the generative. He's straddling the line of that. And he gets recruited to answer prompts by his friend Christian, who's in love with his cousin Roxane. And he pretends to be Christian to give the words of love to Roxane. This is the most important part for, like, he says it'll work. Christian says, I don't think it'll work. He says it'll work because the human ego and human vanity make the words that we want to hear fit us like a glove. It'll work. So again, he's saying the fault isn't me, the fault isn't on us, the fault is on Roxane. The fact that she wants to hear these particular words of love mean that she's going to fall for it. In this scene, she offers the prompt to ChatGPT Cyrano, what words shall I expect from you when the time to profess our love comes? And he writes, even though in the last couple of lines he said, I'm not going to talk about poetics because poetics is fake. We're going to talk real language. I'm not going to give a poem, but look at this. This is a poem. He's doing it. And then she says, yes, this is love. She confuses the particulars of what Cyrano wants to give her for the universal understanding of love. That's the problem with ChatGPT, the exact same problem, is we think it's the universal answer when it's only conformed to the particulars that we give to the system. So just like us, what words do I expect from you? We have to sort of figure this out, or else, I think kind of it's a question of language and rhetoric. Surprise, surprise, spoiler alert, it's the end of the talk now. But the idea is that if we don't understand that this is a problem with language and a problem with meaning, then we're never going to be able to get across ChatGPT. But we have historical cognates for that. We have literary cognates for that. So I don't think it's so bad. Thank you.